Good morning, good morning, good morning, folks. Very stupid o'clock again. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I am your host, Tiffany Daniels. And before we get started, as always, the usual disclaimers. But first off, I know I'm not exactly looking my best this morning, but it's ungodly hot out. So yes, I'm going to wear my pajamas, so to speak, today. Until the furnace that has been put upon the earth is turned the hell down. I might wear pajamas every so often on camera. Alright, usual disclaimers. In the description box, you're going to find a link to the article Judge Rotenberg Educational Center does not want you to read. It is written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed, count them folks, over 900 ABA professionals and surveyed them in regards to the quote-unquote so-called behavior treatment program at the JRC. And if you've been paying attention while we've gone over their idea of a functional analysis, you can see why over 900, nearly 1,000 ABA professionals looked at the JRC like they're on crack. Alright? In fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this article so damn much. They have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from their website. NeuroClastic has refused. So you know what to do, folks. Read that article. Share on all your social media. Alright, you're also going to see on there linked NeuroClastic public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding, folks, because just in case the JRC wants to see through with their threat, and we're kind of hoping that they do. We want answers. We want them to try and defend themselves. We want them accountable and answerable for the first goddamn time since their existence in regards to the shit they perpetuate on people with disabilities. So keep your fingers crossed, alright? You're also going to find the links to the Agape boarding school situation. Agape boarding school, also known as the Agape Ranch, is a quote-unquote so-called Christian boarding school out of Stockton, Missouri that has it counted, folks, 19 pending lawsuits against it currently right now as we speak, alleging sexual abuse, torture, and starvation. We have yet to come across anything, and believe me, I've been digging, at all where Agape has something to say for themselves. So you're going to find articles in regards to the situation mostly in those links, but please read them, folks, and, share them on all your social media. I am going to continue to look because even though most of the time what these people say in defense of themselves is nauseating, I do like to present what the other side has to say for itself. You're also going to find the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject with over 3 decades of receipts of the torture and inhumane treatment of people with disabilities by the JRC and also its off-branch Tobin World in California that was shut down a couple of years ago. You're also going to find the templates and the ever-present self-explanatory change.org shut the Judge Rotenberg Center down petition. When we discuss the JRC, folks, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you do got young children present, please go ahead. Use your headphones, alright? Alright, it is 3:59 a.m. in the morning. As you can tell, I'm not awake. So, if I stumble over my words this morning, apologies in advance, alright? Now, make sure you have some calming tea or recovery for your muscles, whatever you drink in the morning. Because we're about to deal with word salad that would make Elaine blush. So where we left off yesterday. JRC also designs all of its treatment systems so that the typical findings of a functional assessment regarding the typical possible functions of consequences. Oh, that's where I got sick yesterday. Let's move on further. Are taken into account when treatment program is applied. This means that all systems are designed in a way that we avoid or minimize any attention that is given to a problem behavior that is facilitated by the GED, which can be delivered remotely. We can avoid and minimize any escape from demands. Yeah, we went over that yesterday. It made me fucking sick. Remember, folks, just kind of as a rehash, a functional assessment that only focuses on one area is not a functional assessment. A functional assessment, functional analysis, what it is supposed to do is provide a well-rounded picture of the fucking patient. We're not just talking about where the problems are and what new punishments can we develop for them next. It's basic function. It's taking a pulse, so to speak. It's getting a good idea where the problems lie, where the strengths are. It's giving an overall idea of the patient to develop the best treatment plan possible, to build on the strengths, provide reasonable accommodations or solutions that assist in minimizing the triggers that cause the behavior, and so forth. That's a functional analysis. What the JRC is doing is only focusing on the negatives. They're only looking at the behaviors. Not what triggers the behaviors in spite of what they say, but just the behaviors. And what new torture can they develop in order to traumatize us to the point we basically become catatonic next. That's all it is. But let's read into this here. By doing this, it does not matter what function, supposed reward events, or combination of functions a problem behavior has at any given time. Regardless of what the function happens to be, the JRC systems are prepared in advance for that function. In other words, the JRC systems will, in all cases, minimize the rewarding events that a functional analysis is designed to uncover that may be produced by the problematic behavior. Oh, for fuck's sake. You see what I mean? You see what I mean, right? They are so focused on the quote-unquote non-neurotypical behaviors we may have that the idea of what New York is asking for has completely bypassed them. They don't understand. And because they don't understand, you should see it for what it is. It's bad medicine, folks. It's bad medicine. It's bad treatment. And it's going to fail on the face of it. On the very face of it. Traumatizing someone to compliance isn't fucking success. The triggers that cause those behaviors are still fucking there. And once they are out from underneath JRC's psychotic control, guess what's going to happen, kids? Those behaviors come back because the initial issues that causes the behaviors has not been dealt with. That's just logic 101 for you. But all they're doing is causing more fucking trauma. As if the world doesn't cause, especially us autistic kids, enough trauma. But we're going to read the next paragraph here and wrap things up a little bit. Functional analysis is largely promoted by those who are in the anti-aversives camp. Oh, for fuck's sake, here we go. So now they're going to explain to you why their functional analysis is better than the rest of the medical community because they're JRC and we just don't understand. The high-handed hubris on these people is amazing, folks. So first they're going to tell you that they do it, and then they're going to attack it, and then they're going to do the condescension down on how we just don't understand. You're just anti-aversives. You don't understand. They need to be punished. For what, JRC? Tell me, what do I deserve to be punished for? Existing and making you uncomfortable? Yeah, see, these are the reasons, folks, when I was a kid, when all else failed, I would continue to live and go on just to spite people like this. Just to spite them. Those who espouse it and tend to argue that if you do a functional analysis well enough, you will not have to use adversives. Exactly. And now the JRC is saying, but that's not true. Actually, JRC, it is. When you go with a fucking logical outlook on things, when you go into a functional analysis with a preset mindset of logic, 9 times out of 10, guess what? It fucking works. And why does it work, JRC? Because we're not just punishing people for existing. We are looking into what causes the trigger behaviors, treating, taking care, providing reasonable accommodation for that to bring the number of the triggers down. And when you deal with the triggers, JRC, you know what happens? It's a miracle. It's a miracle. The number of the behaviors goes down. And yes, JRC, the numbers back it up. And I know you're going to tell me, but you don't deal with these people this severe. Bullshit, I didn't. Bullshit, I didn't. JRC, it was my responsibility as the advocacy specialist to act as the advocate for the better health and education of my entire Southwest fucking region. Do you have any idea how big the Southwest region in my state is? It's massive. To sit there and try to tell me that covering that wide of a fucking area, not a single kid within that area was as severe as the kids that you have, the numbers don't work on that, JRC. The numbers don't work on that. We did indeed assist with the treatment and educational programs of those every bit as quote-unquote severe as the kids at the JRC. And we used what you call a theory, person-centered planning, on every single one of them. And you know what, JRC? Using a logic-based approach as opposed to hatred and inhumane cruelty, those kids flourished because those triggers were being dealt with. Reasonable accommodations were provided. Assistive communication devices were provided with funding from Medicaid so that they would be able to discuss what the triggers were with their parents or their caretakers, from which we would be able to act. Weird miracle, huh, folks? Unfortunately, published data disprove this optimistic statement. Oh, you mean your data? See, the JRC likes to act like they're the only ones who have any data on anything ever. The fact of the matter is, folks, there are numbers to support my claims. As always, I have plenty of receipts to back up my statements. But the JRC is going to tell you the data doesn't support it, but they never provide receipts. Kind of sounds a little bit like AH supporters, doesn't it? It's very much the just trust me, bruh defense. Just trust me, I'm a professional. No. Not in this house. In a comprehensive review of 10 years of published studies that use positive behavior support procedures, over 100 individual behavior modification results were involved. The authors found that even when a functional analysis had been done, positive behavioral support procedures were effective in only 60% of the cases. Here we go again. And who published those studies? The JRC did. And remember, folks, does the JRC even know how positive behavioral support works? Well, in their previous statement that they want you to forget about the fact that they made earlier in the same document, they indicated that no, they do not know how it works. They do not know how person-centered planning works. They literally don't know how any of these alternatives works because they never used them. What they're basing their data on is their beyond fucking stupid and condescending token program. Which means their data is remarkably skewed. And even with that being the case, think about that 60% of the cases. That's still above the majority, JRC. Now, how is punishment better when the numbers are even lower for its overall effectiveness? Your own people have indicated that if you take these kids off of that fucking device, the behaviors come back immediately, which means in reality, with real medical science, you all have zero success. Zero. And even if it's skewed, I would take 60% over zero, wouldn't you? And on that note, folks, well, actually, what we're seeing here, JRC likes to sit there and tell us, it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if you pay attention, they tell on themselves. They don't even know what these programs are, let alone how they're supposed to function. But they're going to tell you you're wrong, though, and that they're the only ones who understand, and their kids at that school are the only kids who are this severe in the entirety of the world. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage. The numbers don't work. And when you base your entire idea about how these supports don't work when you're dealing with a token program that is in no way, shape, or form related, except maybe barely on the surface, to other treatment programs out there, I'm sorry, JRC, but I'm not buying it. Show me a study that is not from the JRC that backs your claims, that isn't from the 1970s. Show me one, just fucking one full review of your program that's in favor of it, that comes after the date of the 1970s that says that this is effective. Just one. And it cannot come from within the JRC. It has to come from another state, completely and fully independent. They can't, folks. They can't. Because the fact of the matter is, those devices have zero effectiveness. What they call success is trauma response. Remove the kids from this hellhole. Take these torture devices off of them, and the issues that cause the behaviors are still there because they were never dealt with. The JRC uses that as an excuse to argue why we should be continued to be tortured on those devices for the rest of our lives. A treatment is supposed to minimize over time. That's not how the JRC does things, in spite of what they try to tell you. A real effective treatment would mean, well, I've already gone over that with you. These GED devices aren't effective. Starving kids, not effective. Torturing human beings, by and large, and yes, JRC, independent studies outside your hellhole has been done on it, is not effective. It produces rebellion or catatonia, and there's really no in between there. So how can you call a treatment effective when if you take them off the device, guess what? And now, let's talk about real quick their idea of functional analysis. The fact that they sit there and they defend their idea of analysis by only focusing on the negatives. And then they're going to sit there and say that the entire fucking medical community, functional analysis is a fucking medical standard in treatment with disabilities. It's a fucking standard. It's one of the first things that they do when you get diagnosed. To find out where you are, where you would need to be, and what do we need to do to get you there. That's a functional analysis. To fucking sit there and demonize functional analysis. That if you use it enough, you don't have to use adversives, and that's just not true. You miss the entire, JRC misses the entire point, the purpose of a functional analysis. And they have thousands of kids that go through their doors every day, folks. I'm going to leave you that to chew on. We're going to close out this morning. We don't get very many views on this channel, especially on this subject. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this morning. As always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.